Waitress surprised by $7,000 challenge from Mafia boss. Emily's heart raced as she balanced 2 steaming plates of pancakes and a large omelet, her warm smile plastered on her face despite the exhaustion that weighed heavily on her. The diner buzzed with familiar chatter, yet something in the air shifted when the polished man walked in. Clad in a tailored suit that made him stand out amidst the greasy booths, he sat at the far corner, quietly observing. Rumors danced among her coworkers. Tony, the Mafia associate. She rolled her eyes at the gossip, determined not to jump to conclusions. But when he beckoned her over, the whispers intensified, and an unprecedented tension crackled around her. "I have a challenge for you," he said, his enigmatic grin sharp enough to alter the course of her mundane life. $7,000 for mastering culinary excellence in a month. More than enough to pay rent and ease the burden of waking in the early hours, anxious about how the bills might pile up. The sum was staggering, the risk even more so. Emily hesitated, feeling the weight of her coworkers' gazes piercing through her. The thought of that money was intoxicating, yet accompanied by dread. What was she getting into? Could supposedly legit money from a man with dubious connections really change her life? Or would it entangle her further in shadows? Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The tension inside her began to mount. Accepting the challenge felt like teetering on the edge of disaster. Dreams of a stable home for Lily played in her mind, but the uncertainty of associating with a man like Tony gnawed at her thoughts. Could culinary excellence really be her way out? With whispered warnings echoing in her ears, Emily picked up her whisk and knife. Every evening after her shifts, she diced and sautéed until her fingers blistered and her eyes ached. It was a strange mixture of daunting and exhilarating. Was she losing herself? The pressure mounted as fellow waitresses rolled their eyes or offered muted words of caution, some casting envious glances. Her determination wavered with each glance. Doubt clouded her passion, reminding her that the line between ambition and desperation was razor thin. Just as she molded flavors and textures into unique dishes, dark shadows loomed around Tony. The murmurs intensified. What had she gotten herself into? Would the mentor she sought become her downfall? The anguish of trusting a man wrapped in mystery grew unbearable. She was torn between the chance to elevate her life and the price it might exact on her soul. Time ticked mercilessly, leaving Emily in a whirlwind of fear and excitement. What would she risk next to carve a better life for Lily? As the deadline approached, the weight of her choice anchored her to an uncertain fate. As her vision blurred under the strain of her decisions, one thought echoed louder than the rest. Was she ready to pay the price for her dreams? The question loomed like a storm, dark and uncertain, leaving her on the precipice of despair and hope. Emily's kitchen had transformed into a battleground, the clang of pots and pans an echo of her fraying nerves. Flames flickered beneath her skillets, and she poured her heart into dishes that echoed her desperation. As she churned out culinary creations night after night, the tantalizing aroma of sautéed herbs filled the air, merging with the weight of her aspirations. Each dish served as a reminder of the challenge lurking just beyond the threshold. The prize money a pulsing ghost that both haunted and inspired her. Days blurred into nights, the clock a merciless judge to her every endeavor. With each passing moment, the faces of her coworkers morphed into judgmental specters, their whispers now louder than the sizzling pans. She envisioned them smirking, their eyes quizzical as they questioned her choice to engage with someone like Tony. But she dismissed their glares, focusing instead on the flickering hope that perhaps she was on the brink of something transformative. Every evening, as she transitioned from waitress to chef, a shift occurred internally. The kitchen became her sanctuary, and the rhythmic chopping of vegetables drowned out the noise of doubt. She discovered a reservoir of creativity within her, starting to understand the playful dance of flavors and textures. What she once viewed merely as survival turned into a passion she never knew existed. Yet the specter of Tony loomed larger with each culinary success. Who was he really? And what did he want from her? A mentor? A puppet? The notion tightened around her, a noose of uncertainty. Each successful plate brought her closer to the $7,000, but it also tethered her to a web spun with secrets. Fear of compromising her integrity coiled around her thoughts like a serpent, reminding her of the very personal stakes involved. Though she pushed forward, rehearsing her dishes in front of the mirror, there were moments of stark clarity when she paused and confronted her reflections, her fear tangled with hope. What if this is not just about the money, she marveled? What if I meant for more? One fateful night, as she finished a revised version of her signature dish, her first real creation, she felt an unexpected rush. The plating process spoke volumes, the colors sang of new beginnings, and the elegant arrangement was a testament to her growth. But just as she stepped back to admire her handiwork, the reality of her decisions washed over her. Should culinary trends remain unchallenged? That evening, Tony unexpectedly reappeared at the diner. As Emily wiped sweat from her brow, she felt a jolt of anxiety. He approached her with his characteristic flourish, eyes gleaming with something akin to approval. "I've heard promising murmurs from your kitchen," he said, leaning closer, his voice a silken thread that wrapped around her. What was he really after? She found herself at a crossroads. The thrill he exuded was enticing, yet the weight of his world pressed into her thoughts. Would the truth about her challenge morph from opportunity into obligation? Doubt began gnawing at her conviction. Could she really trust her instincts, or was she merely being swept along in a current far beyond her control? As the dawn of the deadline loomed closer, questions about her worth and her desires swirled relentlessly. Emily's heart raced with anticipation, yet a deep-seated fear began to surface. If she truly succeeded, what sacrifices would she have to make? And would she still recognize herself after the final showdown with Tony? That night, as she lay in bed staring at the ceiling, a newfound determination took shape. But the uncertainty about her journey brought forth a chilling realization. The clock was ticking, and soon she would have to confront Tony, not just as a mentor, but as an adversary, in a game that could change everything. Would she emerge victorious, or would she lose herself in the process? It was time to make her choice. The weight of the decision loomed heavily over Emily as dawn broke, painting her room with soft hues that seemed at odds with the turmoil inside her. The rising sun offered no comfort. She felt as though layers of mist were suffocating her clarity. After all those sleepless nights filled with visions of plated perfection and the clattering of pans, she was still unsure of who she was becoming. Was she becoming the chef she aspired to be, or merely a player in someone else's game? As she prepared for another day, her movements were mechanical. She stirred her morning coffee, the bitter richness evoking thoughts of roasted garlic and caramelized onions. Clutching the warm mug, she recognized that her growth in the kitchen stemmed from more than just technical skill. It was fueled by a burgeoning confidence. It was time to seize that feeling, time to execute a plan. Later that day, under the fluorescent kitchen lights, Emily felt the anticipation swell within her. A decision solidified as she pulled her signature dish, a truffle-scented risotto, from the depths of her imagination. She layered in textures and flavors, almost as if she were weaving a story. Each component was an assertion of her competence, a reclamation of her power. With every scoop of the creamy risotto, she channeled her frustration into creativity, crafting something that felt authentically hers. Yet, even as she stirred, a nagging thought wormed its way into her mind. What was the true cost of this culinary journey? As the clock ticked down to the fateful day when she would face Tony, the stakes sharpened. No longer was this about seeking validation. It was authenticity she craved. She questioned whether the $7,000 prize was worth risking her sense of self. She caught her reflection in the stainless steel refrigerator door, and for the first time in weeks, she felt pride rather than anxiety. The Emily staring back had an assertiveness she had nearly forgotten, but there remained a flicker of fear. She wasn't ready for Tony's impending confrontation. What if he tried to manipulate her desires? Or worse, what if he extinguished her newfound flame? That evening, while practicing in front of the mirror, she scrutinized the person she was becoming. The vibrant colors she painted onto the plate felt tangibly linked to her personal growth, and she raised her chin, meeting her own eye. "I won't let anyone define me," she murmured, underlining her resolve. She had to confront Tony, but it must be on her terms. As the clock inched closer to midnight, a sense of urgency blossomed within her. She took notes on the flavors and garnishes she would use in her dishes, planning out each interaction as if it were a choreography leading to a climactic moment. Emily understood that each choice represented a microcosm of her journey, a testament to her growth and a refusal to remain sidelined. The next day, she would roll the dice against Tony, but this time she was armed with a burgeoning sense of power. She wouldn't just push through, she would rise to the occasion and lay bare her skills in front of him, revealing her authentic self without fear. Yet, as the sun dipped below the horizon, she felt her impending confrontation thrumming through her veins. With Tony hovering nearby, would she falter under pressure, or would she display the strength she had cultivated? As she stepped into the new day, two thoughts governed her mind. Her success depended on her ability to remain true to herself, and the moment to face her greatest challenge approached swiftly. Would she emerge not just as a participant in the culinary world, but as its proud creator? The air around her crackled with the promise of change, and Emily could scarcely breathe as she braced herself for the confrontation with the man who represented both her greatest opportunity and her deepest fear. Would she seize this moment, or would it slip away, leaving her questioning all her hard-fought progress? The sun rose, casting a golden light through Emily's kitchen window, illuminating every corner of her workspace. Today was more than just any day. It was the day she would face Tony, a pivotal moment that loomed large on her horizon, casting long shadows over her resolve. She stood before her stove, the familiar sounds of bubbling pots and sizzling pans filling her with a serene intensity. It was time to transform that restlessness into something tangible, something glorious. She methodically assembled her ingredients for the risotto: arborio rice, shimmering with promise, fresh truffles, fragrant and rich, and a vibrant array of herbs. As she engaged with these elements, her mind danced between focus and anxiety. Each motion became a declaration, not just of her culinary skill, but also of her determination to assert herself. Today was about proving that she was a creator in her own right. Yet, with each stir of the pot, doubt crept in. Was her risotto enough? Would it dazzle in the eyes of Tony, a man who thrived on dominance? The weight of potential loss pressed against her chest, but with the weight came energy, a reminder that fear could either shackle or empower her. What did she really want? Was the competition merely a struggle for the prize money, or was it a quest for her identity? She had felt the thrill of crafting a dish that represented her essence, yet the stakes felt alarmingly high. The cadence of her movements was interrupted by the soft buzz of her phone, vibrating with urgency. It was a text from Sarah, a fellow chef whom she respected deeply. "Just remember, Emily, passion speaks louder than perfection. Let them see who you are." The encouragement ignited a spark inside her, a burst of warmth that filled the kitchen. She wrote the message on a small notepad and pinned it above her workstation as a mantra, a vow to root herself in her identity rather than the gravitational pull of others. With renewed vigor, Emily resumed her preparations, meticulously chopping, sautéing, and seasoning until the kitchen was filled with a symphony of aromatic notes. She envisioned standing in front of Tony, sharing her creation not as a mere competitor, but as an artist displaying her work. As the creamy texture of the risotto came together, she realized she was more than just a chef. She was a storyteller. Each dish she prepared was a reflection of her journey and the lessons she had learned. Bursting through the final stages of preparation, she evaluated her garnishes, edible flowers, delicate microgreens, and an unexpected splash of citrus to contrast with the earthiness of the truffles. She wanted to evoke not just taste, but emotion. Could she transform the expected into something astonishing? As the hour approached, she donned her apron, feeling the fabric cling to her like armor. However, with the resolute heartbeat of anticipation came flickers of fear. What if Tony dismissed her efforts outright? Caging that fear within her, she inhaled deeply, centering herself. She needed this moment, not just for the competition, but as a defining testament of her growth. Just as she was about to leave, a small mirrored compact caught her eye, reflecting a woman who had faced her struggles and emerged resolute. "I will not be silenced," she whispered, before stepping into the uncertain world outside her comfort zone. The confrontation with Tony was inevitable, but it would be on her terms. What awaited her in that kitchen remained unclear, but as she made her way, she couldn't shake the feeling that this was merely the beginning. The pulse of opportunity intertwined with her fears, a chaotic dance that urged her forward. Little did she know, surpassing Tony's scrutiny would unveil deeper surprises. Others were watching too, and their interest in her journey was about to shift everything she thought she knew. Emily's heartbeat quickened as she caught sight of the restaurant entrance. What lay beyond those doors? Would her truth resonate, or would she fade under the weight of expectation? With one last breath, she stepped through the doors, prepared to confront not only her competition, but also the unknown revelations that awaited her. The restaurant buzzed with an electric energy, a stark contrast to the quiet of her kitchen. Emily stepped in, feeling swallowed by the atmosphere. The air was thick with expectation, laughter, and the sizzle of cooking in the background. She was just another player in this vast, intricate tapestry of culinary ambition. Yet her heart raced with a determination she had never fully grasped until now. As she approached the back kitchen, she caught a glimpse of Tony, commanding the space like a general overseeing troops. The way he moved, oozing confidence, triggered a mixture of admiration and resentment in her. It was a complex knot of emotions. She wanted to respect the achievement he represented, while simultaneously longing to break through the barrier he created. Today, she would not be just another face in the crowd. Standing at her station, she began plating her risotto with careful precision. Each scoop was more than a portion. They were pieces of her spirit, crafted to showcase her journey, her struggles, her victories, her bold refusal to remain in the shadows. As she garnished with the edible flowers, she whispered to herself a mantra that resonated deep within: "I am worthy." The faint sound of laughter and crude jokes from the other contestants floated through the kitchen like a taunt. It reminded her that this challenge was not simply about the food, but also about survival in a world where only the strongest thrived. Her eyes instinctively darted toward Tony, who was holding court with other chefs, his booming laughter echoing like thunder. A knot formed in her stomach. Was her presence an inconvenience to his world? But then, as if beckoned by an unseen force, Emily straightened her spine and shifted her focus back to the risotto. This was her moment, one that would speak volumes about her tenacity and her place in the culinary landscape. Plating completed, she stepped forward, her heart drumming against her chest. Would she present her dish quietly and retreat into anonymity? Or would she seize this moment to unveil not just the risotto, but her truth? The thought of standing before Tony, the embodiment of dominance, infused her with both terror and exhilaration. She noticed others gathering, their eyes shifting toward her in muted curiosity. Perhaps this was what Sarah meant. Sharing herself, her essence, was as significant as presenting her dish. With a steely gaze, she approached Tony, her carefully crafted risotto a beacon of her journey. The moment she stood before him, all the insecurities and doubts began to peel away. "Tony," she started, her voice steady, "I'd like for you to try my risotto." His piercing gaze met hers, and in that moment, the restaurant seemed to fade away. There was no larger arena, no layers of competition. just two chefs in a shared space of culinary artistry. For a brief heartbeat, it was less about intimidation and more about admiration for the craft. As he took the first bite, her heart raced. Would he see the story she infused into each grain of rice? Would he taste her determination mingled with the creaminess of the dish? Silence enveloped them as he chewed, the world around them suspended in anticipation. The reactions of onlookers faded into a dull echo as Emily held her breath, an inner dialogue clamoring for validation. She had reached a profound crossroad, not merely presenting a dish, but revealing a facet of herself that until this point had remained concealed. "No one does this like you," Tony finally said, and his voice carried a weight of surprise mixed with admiration. Emily's mind raced. Did she hear him correctly? This was not just confirmation of her skills, it was acknowledgement of her as a legitimate contender, an artistic voice deserving to be heard. Before she could bask in the moment, the kitchen erupted around them. Whispers filled the air, eyes darted in her direction, and the temperature of the competition shifted noticeably. Tony's words were a spark, igniting not just her confidence, but igniting a realization in others. Their gaze had transformed. No longer dismissive, they were now intrigued. But this was only the beginning. As the day unfolded, Emily would face unexpected challenges, each one testing her growth and forcing her to confront the implications of her newfound position. Tonight, something beyond the plate awaited her, a challenge that would push her to the brink of her capabilities, one not even she could foresee. The simmering tension in the kitchen fluctuated with the current of bustling energy. Emily could feel the eyes of her fellow contestants nibbling at her confidence, yet Tony's words echoed in her mind, a lifeline against the waves of unease threatening to drag her back down. "No one does this like you." That flicker of validation ignited a flame within her. She refused to let it flicker out so quickly. With resolution swelling in her chest, she returned to her station, the rhythm of her movements becoming a choreographed dance fueled by determination. An array of ingredients sprawled before her, each one a potential creation waiting to be unveiled. Experimenting had always been part of her journey, threading bold flavors into the fabric of dishes. But tonight felt different. She wasn't just cooking for herself anymore. As the clock ticked down, the intensity in the kitchen reached a fever pitch. She could sense the urgency in the air, the contestants rapidly executing their culinary visions. Yet, amid the chaos, Emily noticed an almost cinematic stillness surface around her. Palpable energy thrummed in the air, identifying her as a contender amongst seasoned chefs who had once felt untouchable. With her head swimming in determination, she began planning her next dish, something that would showcase her creativity. Her flames of inspiration fed from the heat of the previous interactions. The risotto had opened the door, but she needed to step through boldly. Gathering her focus, she contemplated a daring dish, a fusion that would blend classic Italian techniques with an unexpected twist, spicy, inviting, and vividly alive. She envisioned a fire-roasted pepper sauce drizzled over a delicate scallop crudo, garnished with vibrant herbs. The concept blossomed in her mind, while her hands moved quickly but deliberately over the ingredients. She sensed the stakes had risen higher than they had ever been before. Today was about proving to herself that she could match culinary prowess with her values of creativity and passion. A sudden clang jolted her back to reality. One of the contestants, Rita, had inadvertently knocked over a stack of plates. The tension in the air crystallized. An intense confrontation was unfolding as Rita lashed out at her peers, blaming them for her own mistakes. The atmosphere thickened with defensiveness, an unsettling reminder of the delicate balance between ambition and betrayal. Emily honed in on the cacophony, caught between sympathy for Rita and the desire to protect her own progress from the chaos unfolding. Focusing her energy inward, Emily reminded herself that this challenge required resilience against not only her competition, but also her own wavering resolve. She had long operated under the traditional notions of what success should look like, conforming to norms pulled from the shadows of her insecurity. But as she decorated her dish, each step of the process became a testament to her refusal to blend in, reflecting her anxiety, yet defying it in robust flavors. Just as she finished her stunning dish, the executive chef's attention shifted sharply in her direction. An imposing presence, he was known not only for his culinary genius, but for his ruthless approach in the kitchen. Their eyes locked, and uncertainty curled like smoke within her. Would he embrace her dish or see it as an affront? The moment stretched, fragile and pregnant with possibility. And then a voice erupted from the chaos. It was Tony again, his booming enthusiasm ringing through the air. Now that's how you make a statement. The eyes of the kitchen turned toward her. One small nod from a figure of authority transformed Emily's fear into empowered clarity. Then, as she began to breathe, another complication arose. A shadow appeared at the door, an unexpected figure known for shady dealings in the culinary underworld. His reputation preceded him like a storm cloud, darker and more foreboding than anything she had faced before. Just as she thought she was stepping into her spotlight, the night was about to take an unforeseen turn, one that would test her not just as a chef, but as a person with unwavering integrity. In that pivotal moment, as eyes turned towards the latest arrival, a sense of dread settled in the corners of her mind. The challenge waiting for her was not just about skill. It now involved her values, her ambition, and the cost one might pay to climb the treacherous ladder of success. What would it take for her to remain true to herself in a world so ready to exploit success for personal gain? Emily felt a chill wash over her as the figure in the doorway stepped into the flickering light of the kitchen. A seasoned weight shaped his presence, and whispers rippled like velvet across the contestants as they processed the man who had entered, carrying an air both commanding and ominous. He was known simply as Sal, a name that sent shivers down the spine of anyone in the culinary scene. Rumors clung to him like smoke, underhanded deals, threats disguised as offers, and a reputation of turning aspiring chefs into pawns in a game of ambition. The very essence of his being seemed to encapsulate everything Emily had sworn to repudiate. For a moment, as she stood behind her station, she wrestled with her impulse to flee or confront. Thousands had ridden the wave of success into the dark underbelly of culinary arts, marred by betrayal and corruption. She looked at her dish. The radiant colors and fragrant aroma were the fruits of her desire to create, an embodiment of her journey thus far. How could she reconcile this with the dark shadow looming so close? Ah, the rising star! Sal's voice sliced through the chatter like a blade. I've heard about you. Impressive, isn't it? But tell me, how far are you willing to go to prove yourself? His smile was slick, but insincere, twisting the very notion of validation. Emily's heart raced, a war raging within her. Was this a gesture of recognition or a trap designed to ensnare her in a web of compromise? The knowledge that success could come with strings attached ignited a flicker of doubt within her. She had always believed in the marriage of hard work with ethical integrity, but the stakes here were disorienting. As Sal prowled closer, his confident strides seemed to shift the atmosphere in the kitchen, grinding each moment into hard, tangible pressure. I propose a challenge, he offered, his eyes sharp like a hawk sizing up its prey. Cook me a dish that will outshine any here. No restrictions. You affirm your place in this world, and I can assure you, you'll get opportunities unlike any other. What do you say? Emily's instincts screamed danger, but alongside that warning was undeniable temptation. The prospect of a door swinging open, revealing hidden avenues previously restricted, to her was tantalizing. Could she truly dismiss his offer? The thought of walking away weighed heavily, not out of simple ambition, but for the chance to validate her skills in ways she had previously only imagined. Yet, would taking a deal from someone like Sal mean casting aside her core values? She had worked tirelessly to carve her place, even when shadows from her past tried to swallow her whole. Was she, even in a moment of desperation, willing to sacrifice her integrity for the fleeting allure of recognition? The clock was ticking, and as the moments stretched, she felt the burden of choice settle heavily in her chest. The kitchen whirled with its frenzied atmosphere, yet she found herself frozen in contemplation, the weight of her decision intensifying. She had come so far, but what did it mean if she traversed this path at the cost of everything she believed in? The air crackled with the unsaid words suspended between them, and as Emily shifted her gaze back to Sal, her resolve began to harden. She would light her own path toward success, one that didn't involve surrendering her ethics. But as she prepared to respond, she noticed something in Sal's expression, a flicker of impatience, or perhaps a subtle menace, hinting at consequences far graver than she anticipated. Just then, a loud crash erupted from across the kitchen, snapping her back to the present moment. Amidst the chaos, she realized that the danger was not just coming from Sal. The game was bigger than an isolated challenge. It was intertwined with the lives and aspirations of everyone around her. She would have to choose her next steps with extreme caution. The culinary world was vast and filled with traps, and her next move could change everything. With her heart pounding in a mix of defiance and determination, Emily prepared to answer Sal, unconsciously gripping the edge of her counter for support. Would she embrace this gamble or redefine the rules of the game? The moments leading to her answer would unravel not only her ambitions, but also the very essence of who she aimed to be in the face of a sinister challenge. The gauntlet had been thrown, and she could feel the stakes rising higher than ever before. The culinary world was watching, and so was she, bracing for whatever might come next. Emily took a deep breath, steeling herself as she glanced at her dish, the beautiful symphony of colors and aromas that expressed the essence of who she was. In a moment where all eyes were upon her, she recognized not just her culinary talent, but also the weight of her principles. She could either shatter the integrity she'd worked so hard to build, or rise above the temptation. With an assertive tone, she responded, "I'll accept your challenge, Sal. But know this, I will cook from my heart, not through your intimidation." She could see a flicker of surprise in his eyes as her boldness rippled through the kitchen. That pulse of empowerment pushed her away from the darkness threatening to engulf her. The response had tinged with an edge of defiance, but she was also cognizant of the reality opening before her. What had she just committed to? As the kitchen resumed its usual chaos, Emily began to plot her approach, her thoughts racing like wild horses. She needed a concept that would not only be technically flawless, but also convey the depth of her culinary philosophy. It had to be a dish that told a compelling story, not just for Sal or the judges, but for herself. She chose to draw from her roots and experiences, something uniquely hers, a dish that could communicate not only her skills, but also her journey. Memories of her grandmother flooded her mind, of the kitchen filled with rich scents of roasted vegetables, spices, and laughter. Those flavors had shaped her, forming not just meals, but the identity she carried forward. As she worked, her hands moved with a sense of urgency and purpose. She meticulously selected each ingredient, seasonal vegetables, aromatic herbs, a fresh catch of the day, all vibrant and honest. She infused her dish with a bold sauce that danced between the edges of tradition and modernity, a celebration of her own fusion journey. Yet, despite her enthusiasm, doubt slithered back into her mind. What if it wasn't enough? Competitors would be grinding out ambitious creations, and the looming presence of Sal only amplified the tension. Each chop of the knife seemed to echo her fears, reminders of the stakes involved. If she faltered, not only would she fail to outshine the competition, but she also risked falling prey to everything she despised in the industry. Her reflection was interrupted by the sharp tone of Sal's voice piercing through the kitchen noise. "You'll find I'm not easily impressed, Emily," he sneered, the corner of his mouth curling in a knowing smirk. You may want to think carefully about how you want to define your success today. The ominous weight of his words loomed heavily around her, an acid reminder that this was a game with consequences. It wasn't just about culinary skill. It was a test of character, moral fiber, and ambition, all twisted into one. How would she measure her success against the vices he represented? Emily paused, clenching her fists tightly, breathing in the sense of her creation while fortifying her resolve. "I will succeed on my terms," she whispered to herself, reminding her of her roots and the legacy she intended to honor rather than betray. As the challenge accelerated towards the critical moment, she could feel the eyes of every competitor and mentor pressing down on her, expectations mingling delicately with doubt. Would she emerge from this as a beacon of hope or an example of compromise? With stamina flowing through her veins, the flames ignited in her heart. No matter the result, she was committed to forging a path infused with authenticity. As she plated her dish, an iridescent swirl of colors pulling a narrative of resilience, Emily silently promised when the final meal was served, she would have no regrets. But the journey wasn't just about cooking anymore. It transformed into a battle of wits, heart, and authenticity. As she glanced up, she noticed Sal watching fitfully from the periphery, as if gauging her resolve. This was more than a culinary competition. It was a crucible of character. She wondered if she was equipped for such trials ahead. The clock was ticking down, and as she took her last glance at the masterpiece that represented her journey, she realized that true success wasn't solely about recognition. It was about standing firm when shadows threatened to dim her spirit. As the final seconds dwindled and the anticipation thickened, Emily braced for what lay ahead. The culinary world awaited, and with it, the ultimate test of her resolve. Would she shine, or would the darkness reclaim what she had fought so tirelessly to build? The tension in the air was palpable, thickening with every tick of the clock. Emily's heart raced as she carefully gazed at her plated dish, still gleaming with the vibrant essence of her culinary narrative. The agony of the ticking seconds reminded her of the stakes, urging her to pour every ounce of her being into this moment. Could she truly encapsulate her journey within this dish, or would her vision fall flat under the harsh scrutiny surrounding her? With a final flourish, she set her plate down, the colors swirling together like her thoughts, each layer representing a part of her life, a slice of her soul. She glanced around, meeting the eyes of the judges, feeling both the weight of their expectations and the burning need for validation. It was a moment when individuality clashed with industry standards. She could hear the whispers of her aspirations mingling with the doubts that threatened to engulf her. Feeling exposed, she turned her attention back to Sal, who had remained watching intently, an inscrutable expression on his face that hinted at both challenge and critique. What lay behind those eyes? Would he appreciate her authenticity, or would he strip it away, rendering it insignificant amidst the razzled energy of competition? Emily took in a deep breath and steadied herself. She had to persist, not just as a contestant in this competition, but as an artist, ready to defend her work against any judgment. She knew that beyond the tactical aspects of cooking, there was something deeply personal embedded in her creation. Nadja, her grandmother, had taught her that food narrates stories, stories of love, family, struggle. As the judges began their critique of the dishes, Emily listened intently, parsing through their words while trying to remain focused. When her turn came, she stood tall, ready to articulate the journey encapsulated on her plate. "This dish is a reflection of my heritage," she began, her voice steady despite the rapid thumping of her heart. "It embodies the flavors and techniques my grandmother taught me, combined with my own love for innovation. It's a taste of resilience." When the head judge tasted her dish, his eyes widened in surprise. She felt the small spark of hope igniting within her. Perhaps she had connected. Perhaps her story had transcended mere culinary skill into something more profound, an authentic representation of who she was. But the moment was brief. Sal interjected sharply. "Sweet talk won't save you, Emily. Flavor is one thing, but innovation without substance is another. Show me your roots, but don't bore me with cliches. His cold words cut through her like an icy wind snuffing out her hard-earned flame. The challenge of maintaining her integrity against the rising noise of criticism weaved through her thoughts. What if the industry she adored took everything she held dear and twisted it beyond recognition? The duality of her fear fueled her desire to rise. Staring into the eyes of the judges, she wrestled with the reality that success might demand more compromises than she was willing to make. As the deliberation continued, her heart raced in rhythm with the ticking time. She was fighting not only for victory, but for her identity in an unforgiving arena. Confronted with the choice between commercial success and authentic representation, her resolve wavered. Were her roots strong enough to weather the storm tossed by the ever-looming shadows of industry giants like Sal? With a sharp intake of breath, Emily hardened her resolve. Her culinary journey, the lessons learned, the love poured into every dish, was worth more than any superficial accolade. She had to trust that authenticity would resonate, regardless of the external judgment looming over her. As the judges announced their final decisions, Emily braced herself for consequence, whether it would be celebration or shattering disappointment. The moment of reckoning was upon her, and she understood deeply that every choice mattered, not just as a chef, but as the person she strived to become. With the words hanging in the air, she realized true victory would be predicated not on the approval of others, but on her capacity to remain unyielded amidst pressure. Would the coming days build her up or strip her bare? The final results remained unspoken, and she was left teetering on the edge of revelation, awaiting an ending that could redefine her culinary future. Emily stood in front of the judges, vulnerability mingled with anticipation. She felt the weight of her journey pressing down on her, but this time it felt different. Facing down the greatest challenge of her life was not just about the competitive spirit or the allure of the money. It was about proving to herself that she was not just a waitress with greatness dreamed in the shadow of her kitchen, but a chef capable of rising above expectations. As the head judge took a moment to process her dish, Emily's heart raced, pulsing with the rhythm of her aspirations. No longer was she simply waiting to be validated.
She was here to showcase a well-honed skill crafted from passion, ambition, and an unwavering commitment to her identity. The heat of the kitchen had transformed her from someone seeking approval into a creator determined to stand firm. "I taste authenticity, a tribute to your heritage, yet engraved by your personal evolution," the head judge finally said, their approval lighting a spark of belonging in her chest. "Your use of flavor is robust and innovative." Those words cut through the tension, reverberating as an acknowledgement of her triumph against the distractions that swirled around her. Sal's presence, along with the competitive whispers of her peers, began to dissolve into a distant backdrop. Emily realized that she had succeeded in establishing her worth, leading with her narrative of growth and trusting her gathered skills. The other judges nodded in agreement, their praise enveloping her, a tapestry woven with the threads of recognition, the kind that glowed brightly against the murky shadows of doubt. Emily felt a surge of empowerment wash over her. She had taken a risk, yes, but it had paid off spectacularly, equipping her not only with newfound confidence, but also with a recognition that sparkled like her garnishes. "Tonight, you dazzled the palate, Emily. You've shown growth and mastery," another judge praised, their voice filled with fervor. "We believe you are ready for the next step in your culinary journey." Emily blinked back tears, feeling the walls she'd built around herself melting away gently. This was not just a victory of the plate, it was a triumph of spirit, a testament to her grit. The pressure that had once threatened to engulf her had transformed into a beacon illuminating her newfound confidence. With her dish distinguished and widely acclaimed, the announcement she had awaited was finally here. The head judge stood tall, addressing the gathering. "And the winner of the challenge is Emily!" Shouts of surprise erupted from the audience, and Emily stood momentarily awestruck, caught in joyous disbelief before disbelief erupted into celebration. The validation surged through her,
fortified by the respect of her peers and mentors alike. The shadows that once threatened to ensnare her could no longer touch her. She had conquered every fear, every doubt, and every obstacle with her own tenacity. As she stepped forward to accept her recognition and the promise of the monetary prize, she pondered the depth of her transformation. This accolade wasn't solely marked by talent or favoritism. It encapsulated the profound journey of self-acceptance and affirmation. Emily had not just achieved a professional milestone, she had reached an internal zenith, learning to trust herself and her culinary visions without compromise. As she celebrated that moment, surrounded by applause, she acknowledged that her path moving forward wouldn't merely consist of executing dishes, but establishing her brand, a chef with the strength of her journey at her core. Watching Tony's approving nod from the side of the kitchen reminded her of how far she had come, not just from waitress to chef, but from self-doubt to bold confidence.
Confidence. Emily was no longer merely participating. She had anchored herself in a world that celebrated innovation and authenticity, having successfully shifted the narrative of her story from one of fragility to one of formidable fortitude. She took a moment to bask in the glory of her achievement, the thrill illuminating her soul. This was just the beginning of her ascent in the culinary world, and she felt an indomitable spirit ready to embrace the future, one designed and dictated by her own hands, anchored in authenticity and resilience. It was her moment, and she savored every second of it. Now is your time to take action. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive emotional stories that will inspire you. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and support the channel. Your engagement really matters. Comment below your reactions and theories about Emily's formidable journey. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion, and don't wait even one more second to share. True fans of personal overcoming stories know how vital it is to show support through these actions. Comment below your reactions and theories about Emily's formidable journey. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion, and don't wait even one more second to share. True fans of personal overcoming stories know how vital it is to show support through these actions.